earlier tonight, I had a chance to sit down with Donald Trump for an exclusive interview with the Republican nominee. We covered a wide range of topics, including Cuba and whether he believes there is a racial disparity in the criminal justice system. But we started with questions surrounding the possible hidden ties between himself and the Russian government. What's your impression of this notion that the Russians are trying to help you get elected?
Well, I don't know anything about it. I can tell you, I think if I came up with that, they'd say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. It's ridiculous. I mean, I have nothing to do with Russia. I don't have any jobs in Russia. I'm all over the world, but we're not involved in Russia. But it was just, I watched actually one of the people from the campaign of Hillary Clinton, who I call Crooked Hillary, and he was saying, he talked about Russia. He said, you know, it was Trump. It was Trump. It was almost like John Lovitz on The Liar, if you remember that from Saturday Night Live. It was Trump. It's so ridiculous, but they have to say something. They might as well blame me.
The theory is, and I want you to just address it head on, because I think that's the way you like to do things,
Sure.
is that somehow you have, you know, your companies are beholden to Russian investment, that Russian dollars have flown into your businesses, and that therefore somehow Putin could control you by threatening your business ventures.
I haven't heard that at all. I mean, I haven't heard that, but I have nothing to do with Russia. Nothing to do. I never met Putin. Nothing to do with Russia whatsoever.
So you have no loans from Russian banks or investors?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
The mothers of a number of young men who have died either through violence or police-involved shootings are speaking. Sabrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner's mother, you know, are speaking. What do you think about the fact that they're taking the stage and are so aligned against you?
Well, I don't know that they're aligned against me. I haven't heard them speak. But I'm a person who believes in law and order. I believe in protecting our police and being with our police. I also want our police to be extremely careful and vigilant. They have to be very, very careful, and they have to do what's right. But we are a country of laws, and we have to protect our police. I don't know that they're against me. I don't know why they'd be against me. I think I'm a perfectly nice person.
What about within the criminal justice system? Do you believe that there's a racial disparity in the criminal justice system?
I would have to look at it. I would have to study it. Lots of people have opinions both ways, but I would certainly study it.
I want to talk to Cuba for a second. Obviously, it's an issue that's down here. Someone with your international business holdings and your investments, you must have over the years looked with an eye towards Cuba and thought to yourself, what an amazing opportunity Cuba would be for investment.
Well, I think at the right time, Cuba would be a good opportunity for investment. I think probably the time's not right. I'm not sure they have that in place right now. They talk in terms of leases as opposed to ownership. There are a lot of things that are wrong with Cuba right now. So I would say probably this isn't the right time. But at some point in the future, I would think that my company, hopefully I'll be doing something entirely different, but perhaps my company would look at it, but it's certainly not high on the list.
Have you ever been to Cuba?
I have not.
Do you think Raul Castro is someone you could deal with?
Who knows? I mean, you never know.
How important is Florida to your election?
Very important. I love Florida.
Is it must win?
That's where we are.
Is it must win?
Well, I think it probably is or possibly is. I can say this. I have tremendous properties in Florida, tremendous employees. They're phenomenal. We have a Hispanic group of employees. We're at Doral right now. These are the greatest people on earth. They work hard. I pay them a lot of money, and they do a great job, and people love it. I think that Florida is going to be very important.
Very interesting that he's sort of hedging there, that it's probably a must-win for him. There really aren't too many political analysts out there, Jim, who say that the Republicans can win, period, unless they win Florida.
Florida does seem to be pivotal to anything that you come up with, whether or not you can win Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and flip those states around. But really, the most likely scenario is for him to win in Florida.
Did he give any impressions of the DNC and what he's thinking about all the events going on?
He did. We talked to, you know, he's a little bored by the convention that's going on here. He actually complimented Michelle Obama's speech. Even though Michelle Obama's, you know, went after him, he said she thought she gave a very good speech. He was impressed by it. You know, he said he's used to a political speech, but he still complimented the First Lady. And Bernie Sanders, he just kept saying this funny thing where he kept saying Bernie's tired, Bernie just wants to go to bed, he wants to go home, he wants to go to sleep, he's completely burned out. And that's the way he's sort of dismissing Bernie Sanders now.
All right, Jim DeFede with the exclusive one-on-one with the Republican nominee, and hopefully we'll hear a lot more from Donald Trump.
You'll have more tomorrow, too.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. Thanks very much.
Jim.